or geographic regions which have co-evolved. Today, that evolution is happening faster than ever. There's a whole generation that doesn't really use the kitchen anymore. The culture of passing recipes from generation to generation has changed. In turn, it's increasing the demand for different options. And this trend is expected to continue rising due to online recipe sharing, consumer-facing apps, and do-it-yourself videos. Hello and welcome to the maiden edition of the program, Bon Appetit, the culinary adventure, with me, Saratu Saidichu.
The African-Mediterranean fusion cuisines is a combination of Africa and the Mediterranean dishes. Mediterranean fusion is not one restricted to a specific ethnic group or culture. Rather, it is a label referring to the culinary trends shared by diverse people's culture in the region around the Mediterranean Sea. Civilization and the need for the promotion of unity has resulted in the fusion of various continental dishes. North African cuisines are increasingly converted from the local cuisines and eating habits. They are characterized by the abundance of spices, such as cumin, coriander, saffron, cinnamon, chilies, etc. Today in Africa, these dishes are served in restaurants thanks to our chefs and recipes, which allows us the experience and treasures of food from other lands.
As the popular Irish proverb says, laughter is brightest in the place where the food is. I have with me today Chef T Odama Iboite and Chef T, shall today on the program be preparing an African and Mediterranean fusion, which she calls...
That's correct. Today we're making a black bean and chickpea salad with couscous with lamb. We're going to treat our lamb special today.
Does that trigger anything? Don't go away as the program continues after this time.
Okay, so we're going to start with our lamb. We're going to marinate our lamb and rest it for a bit. So here I'm going to use this mortar and pestle to make a dry rub for our lamb. I'm going to start with my dry cloves, just a few seeds. Our fenugreek. I'm going to add our herb salt. Just a little of that. Our ground coriander, dried cumin, a little paprika, cayenne pepper, black pepper, salt, and a little fresh mint. So I have olive oil here. I'm just going to put a little to fuse the herbs and spices together. So I'm going to use this and make a little paste. A little more oil. This is extra virgin olive oil. So that's that. So back to the lamb. I'm going to drizzle. Then apply our paste. We want to be as generous as possible. So we have our paste on our lamb. We'll set that aside to marinate for a bit. So we'll wash our hands and come back to our salad. So the salad. Time for our salad. So we're going to start with our black beans.
Already boiled.
Yes, this comes out from the can actually. But if you get it in the market, you can actually boil it and keep it. Same thing with our chickpea. But if you boil it yourself, you have to cool it down because it's not warm salad. We want everything at room temperature. Our sweet corn. So here we have red onions, cucumber, tomatoes, then of course sweet bell peppers, red, yellow and green.
It's coming out nicely.
Yeah.
Colorful.
Very beautiful, yes. It's almost like a rainbow salad. That's what I said about presentation. You have an idea of what you want your plate to look like before you start cooking. It makes it easier for you to cook. So I'm going to get a spatula and toss this. See how beautiful the colors are actually.
It's appealing.
And very bright, yes. And guess what? Apart from being appealing, we're just about to take it up a notch because we're going to use our fresh coriander, our lime zest, lime juice for that fresh kick. So it doesn't just look fresh, it's going to taste fresh.
Is that where the Mediterranean comes in?
That's correct. So I'm going to set this aside as well. We're ready to make the dressing for our salad. This is for removing the hue of any citrus fruits. We're going to zest that for our dressing, then we'll zest this for the dressing of the salad. I'm going to start with our fresh coriander. Just going to take a little of that and chop finely. So we get this finely chopped.
Impressive.
Thank you. Then we're going to zest our lime. All we have to do is just get the
Into it?
Yes. Whenever I use lime, lemon, oranges, I use the zest as well because it actually enhances the flavor you get from whatever citrus fruit you're working with. We don't want our seeds in. Nobody wants to be having a salad and chewing seeds. So be careful with that. second juice. See, I just by sitting, you have to take that out. They're all going in. So next, little sugar.
Sweet and sour.
Yeah, little salt. And of course, black pepper.
Why the emphasis on black pepper?
I don't cook with black pepper. Black pepper goes very. Once you work with salt, it's almost like an abomination not to put black pepper.
Wow,
Salt
why?
and pepper go together.
Oh, wow.
Yes, almost everything you cook. Once it's continental cooking, they always go together. So we have our lime juice, our zest, we have sugar, we have salt, we have our fresh coriander, and finally a little olive oil.
So nothing else is going into
Nothing
this.
else is going into this dressing. So this is it. So I think I'm going to clear the workspace so we can start working on our couscous. We're going to heat our pan a bit. This is our mint and orange sauce that we're going to use to glaze our lamb.
Mint and lemon sauce.
That's correct. So we're going to dry out our pan. You notice I'm actually using the smallest burner because I have to do this on low heat. It's actually patience. I started squeezing our orange juice out, so I'm going to complete that now. The juice of one orange.
That's pretty much.
Yep, it is.
It's quite juicy.
It is. It's the season, I guess. Lucky us.
All year round, there's always one fruit at the other.
Exactly, and that's a good thing. And you find it's cheaper to cook with those things when they're in season. And it affects menu writing most times. As in when you're planning your meals at home, it's always right to plan with what's in season. Because it's cheaper, and it even gives you reason to preserve. You start thinking of preservation.
Yes.
So it helps you save money, it saves time, and it's healthier.
It is.
Fruits and vegetables, when in season, and always healthier. So while our pot has dried out, first things first, sugar, white sugar. Our squeezed orange juice. Then of course, like I said before, zest of every citrus fruit we work with to enhance the orange flavor. While that goes, I'm going to chop the rest of our fresh mint as finely as possible. You can always perceive the aroma of the herbs as I cut into it. So you can imagine the freshness we're expecting on our lamb.
It's really nice. The aroma of most of the vegetables we have in Nigeria, those ones that really come out, are quite confusing.
Yes,
Some of them smell.
I like
Yes.
basil together with basil and mint, coriander,
Exactly.
and parsley. But when you cook with them over time, you get to know the difference. Your eyes closed. So our orange juice, our mint, a little honey.
Yeah. That's another medicinal item.
It is, and it goes with almost everything. Then I'm going to put a little mustard for the tartness.
see how this will taste. I feel mustard changes the taste of
But
food.
remember, we have orange juice that's sweet, we have honey that's sweet, and we have sugar. So we need something tangy to break it, so it's not too sweet. I'm actually still going to put a little vinegar.
Wow.
So this is apple cider vinegar. Just gonna put a little of that.
It's been a while. I had something sweet and sour.
Let's wait for it.
Yeah, I'm
We're going
waiting.
to have that in a bit. So we're going to let that cook down. Okay, so we have our couscous in our bowl. We're going to season our couscous. I'm starting with bouillon cubes. These are beef seasoning cubes. A little salt. Our saffron. Cayenne pepper. And cumin powder. Toss this and get it ready for the pan. We have canola oil, another healthy version of the oil. No, canola oil is a type of oil. It's a seed, yes. It's like soya oil. It's not burnt. It's actually the plant. It's like sesame oil. It depends on where the oil is coming from. We have coconut oil, different types. So I'm just going to put a little canola oil in the pan, and I don't want that to heat too fast because it doesn't have a high threshold for heat. So as soon as that goes in, I have my white onions, sweet onions. We have our fresh garlic.
This should be everyone's kitchen.
It is it's a wonder machine. It's called a garlic press. Because when you think of chopping garlic, sometimes they're like, nah.
And I love that.
So just as much as your palate can handle. I think I'll do one more. That's that. I'm going to let that go. I want our fresh white onions as fresh as possible. I don't want it too cooked because it gives its own flavor to the couscous. Can you perceive the aroma? Just a little butter going in. Butter makes everything better. Makes everything.
Glossy.
Yes, not just the aroma. Immediately I put in the pan, it didn't hit you. Garlic and butter. You can't go wrong.
You're looking out your secret.
I have others. So I'm putting my couscous in. Going to toss that. Then of course, boiling hot water. I had the kettle going before. I want just enough to cover the pot. Low heat. And we'll let it simmer for a minute or two. You have to be careful.
That's enough.
You have to be careful when you're using water and couscous. The perfect way to cook couscous is a ratio 1-to-1. Your equal parts of water to equal parts of couscous. Yes. You want to cook 1 cup of couscous, is 1 cup of boiling hot water. And it's just almost there.
I think I like one thing.
So let's steam for about a minute. Okay, so let's taste for sizzling. So we correct it if we have to. We really need to. We just might. Okay, let's find out. I don't know what you want. Wow. And it's still plain. We haven't put a sauce to it. We haven't put anything to it. This is couscous goals. Okay. It's ready. It's going to eat now. So we're going to let that keep steaming before we toss it, our salad. So we'll take this off. Now it's time for lamb. When you're working with red meat, you want your pan as hot as possible because you want that sizzling sound when you put your meat in. So we're going to heat our pan and get it as hot.
Is it just about the sound or the sound?
Oh no, it actually browns the meat. It gives it a charred kind of exterior that is good for red meat.
And it cooks.
That's correct. It starts cooking it immediately. It hits the pan. So our mint and orange sauce is still reducing. So we're going to carefully. Can you hear our wonderful sound?
It makes you happy, right?
Yes, it does. So we're going to let that go for about, because it's a thin cut, for about 2 minutes on both sides. So while that's going, I think I should clear what we've been working with. So our lamb is ready to come off the heat. No, we're not ready. We only put one. Okay, so let's put it. Leave it to rest. So it renders its own juices before we cut into it. Going to bring this here and get ready to eat. Okay, so for the final touch to our couscous, so we have our spring onions. I'm going to toss. And our couscous is ready to serve. You can see how fluffy it is.
Honestly,
It doesn't stick.
this is attractive.
And the aroma is amazing. Our sauce is ready. Our orange and mint sauce. So we're going to scoop that into a sauce cup and we'll leave the rest on the drizzle. At this stage, I'm very sure our lamb is ready. Can you see it has rendered its own juices out? So we're going to serve our couscous. We have our bean salad on the side. Our lamb shoulder that's very tender. For this plate, I'm just going to place it across and serve with our mint sauce. So this is ready.
No
to go.
garnish. I can't wait to take a bite. This.
Yep.
Right. Okay, let's go.
Okay, I like the sound of that.
This is really nice.
Thank you.
Let's see what this tastes like.
You have to. Go ahead. And the lamb and the sweet meets that in your mouth. Imagine the fusion.
It's a real fusion. Beautiful.
Thank you.
I must say.
Thank you. Appreciate
It
that.
is really, really nice.
Wow.
It is really, really nice. So far on the program, we have taken
a gastronomic trip to the African side of the Mediterranean through a cuisine that was nicely prepared for us by Chef T.
Food and beverage don't exist in a vacuum. They have always co-evolved with culture. It's ideal, therefore, for travelers around the world to enhance their chances of trying great varieties of food, and fusion cuisine will help identify such. It's been Bon Appetit, a culinary adventure showing on the largest television network in Africa, the NTA. I hope you enjoyed everything that we've put together for you today on the program. Why don't you join us same time next week when we bring to you another beautiful package of the program.
"24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You can watch NTA International live on your TV, computer, iPad, tablet and phone. Log on to visiontv.co.uk and click on Entertainment, then NTAI. You can also download the iOS or Android app on your mobile devices to watch NTA International on the go, anywhere in the world. NTA International, your window to the world.
For now, the best and most efficient way to avoid getting infected is through regular hygienic and sanitary practices, as well as social distancing. As individuals, we remain the greatest weapon to fight this pandemic. By washing our hands regularly with clean water and soap, disinfecting frequently used surfaces and areas, coughing into a tissue or elbow, and strictly adhering to infection prevention control measures in health facilities, we can contain this virus.
Good afternoon and welcome to Nationwide Today. I am Kenen Ima Abodike. We'll start from the EFCC, where a correspondent with the news agency of Nigeria, Ismaila Chafe, has elaborately revealed how former acting chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, Ibrahim Magu, allegedly masterminded money laundering through a cleric, Pastor Emmanuel Omale. Abubakar Usman Akwanga has details of the revelation.
Agency of Nigerian reports that during interrogation of the suspended acting chairman of the EFCC, Mr. Ibrahim Magu, by the Justice Ayo Salami-led panel, a copy of the report made available to NAN on Saturday in Abuja identified one Pastor Emmanuel Omale of Hand of God Prophetic Ministry as the chief launderer of the relooted funds. The report states that Pastor Omale was uncovered through an investigative report on EFCC's activities by the Nigerian Financial Intelligence Unit and mentioned in a final report of the Presidential Committee on Audit of Recovered Assets. The report established that the unknown clergy is alleged to have bought a landed property on behalf of Magu worth 573 million naira in Dubai, United Arab Emirates, and also mentioned in several petitions as masterminder of money laundering. As an unknown pastor, the NFIU's report showed huge movement of funds ranging from 573,228,040 naira and 41 kobo, and indicates efforts had been intensified to expose the real identity of the clergy with a view to arraigning him for trial. On the Ziani Alison Madueke case, the PCARA report accused Magu of failure to cooperate with authorities in the United Kingdom to facilitate effective prosecution of the case. NAN established that the acting chairman failed to liaise with the UK NTA to charge the former minister to court in the UK. The suspended acting chairman was also indicted by the report by NAN correspondent for deliberately refusing to provide documentary evidence that would allow Office of the Attorney General of the Federation to initiate extradition process, which strained EFC's relationship with Europe. NAN reports that Magu is being held at the police headquarters. Is expected to reappear before the Salami probe panel on Monday against several allegations. Abubakar Usman Akwanga, NTA News.
In the meantime, the House Committee on Public Accounts has urged MDAs to ensure that the 2020 revised budget is implemented to the letter. Chairman, House Committee on Public Accounts, Representative Wole Oke, pointed out that in line with constitutional provisions of checks and balances, the National Assembly will not relent in engaging agencies of government in that regard.
At the end of the ninth assembly, we want to be able to lay a report to be considered by the parliament, approved to, and then send it to the executive for implementation.
The committee met with management of NDDC, Bank of Industry and the Ministry of Women Affairs pertaining to their financial report. The Office of the Auditor General is working with the committee to check and ascertain audit reports of MDAs. Now, the federal government is addressing the challenge of low power voltage in the country with the construction of more substations to boost and provide stable electricity. Minister of Power, Saleh Maman, inspected one of these infrastructures in Jigawa State ahead of its inauguration. Joshua Ojito now reports.
Strategic to the implementation of the Power Sector Recovery Program are substations under construction in parts of the country to address low voltage and epileptic electricity supply. Jigawa State is benefiting from this infrastructure, which is located in Gagarawa. There are 3 substations in Jigawa State with these of 2 by 60 MVA, the biggest in the state, expected to serve 6 local government areas. Minister of Power, Saleh Maman, is in Gagarawa in continuation of his tour of power projects to monitor their implementation as he engages the contracting firm on timely delivery.
The project is commendable and we have almost reached up to 90 or even 100% completed electrically. Here we want to improve the voltage that we have not been getting before. And I also want to use this opportunity to urge the contractors, all power contractors, to come back to the site and so that they can deliver.
We are expecting to have about 50 industries as time goes on because of the power availability now. And I really have to commend President Muhammad Buhari for continuing the job that he inherited. This job started 20 years ago, but the government of Muhammad Buhari continued to fund it and make sure that it is done.
We are in the final Okay, so you can see now even the substation is energized. It's called soaking of transformer. It's called energization. So it means substation is ready for commissioning. We are doing the pre-testing or pre-commissioning.
Work on the substation is nearing completion. From Gagarawa in Jigawa State, Joshua Ojito, NTA News.
Let's go to politics now, where the Southeast APC leaders have resolved to work towards ensuring the unity of the party in order to actualize its goals and objectives. They made this known to journalists after a closed-door meeting held at the Imo State Government House, Owerri. Bright Ebochur has details.
The Southeast APC meeting, which attracted major stakeholders from the region, held behind closed doors. Governor Uzodimma, while briefing journalists on the outcome of the meeting, which lasted several hours, states that President Muhammadu Buhari has since 2015 exhibited capacity for good governance and development of the country. He further affirms that in view of the president's effort towards ensuring the unity of the APC, the Southeast leaders have resolved to align with his vision in the overall interest of the party.
Ndibo, we are decided that we will follow the national party. We have decided that all federal government policies that is targeted at making sure that the common man on the street has a good life, we will embrace.
Former Senate President Ken Namani and Minister of Labour and Productivity Chris Ngige speak further on the outcome of the meeting.
Somebody whose name is Hope is giving people hope, is giving the party hope in the Southeast, is giving the party hope in the country. We have seen signs of that hope, and it gives us strength, and we believe that he's going to do a lot more. We have come to compare notes with our government and to rub heads minds with him so that we can do more.
The target of the forum is to galvanize support for the party towards strengthening its structures. In Owerri, Bright Ebochur, NTA News.
This is Nationwide on NTA. Time now to join Dalton in Lagos for more reports. Hello, Dalton. We apologize for the loss of audio from our Lagos Network Center. Let's now continue by telling you that safeguarding the health and rights of women and girls around the world, especially during COVID-19 pandemic, is the central message as the world marks 2020 Population Day. Haman Jabani reports that the concern is that with the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic, the estimated 7.8 billion world population is expected to rise due to unplanned pregnancies.
Well, when I saw my baby, I'm very happy, and I thank God for seeing my baby.
The arrival of a baby to the Jumo family and many other families on this World Population Day is a great joy to the families, but for the UNFPA and National Population Commission is something to worry about due to the increasing population. A recent UNFPA research revealed that if the lockdown continues for 6 months with a major disruption in health services, 47 million women in low and middle income countries might not have access to modern contraceptive. This will in turn lead to 7 million unintended pregnancies, with an intending rise in gender-based violence, female genital mutilation and child marriages.
We shall continue to pursue our mandate of generating demographic, health, and social economic data for championing the cause of all, especially the cause of women and girls.
UNFPA is working to ensure that the supply of modern contraceptive and reproductive health commodities is maintained, and that midwives and other health personnel have the personal protective equipment they need to stay safe.
For the National Population Commission and its development partners, the COVID-19 crisis has taken a staggering toll on people, communities and economies everywhere, but not everyone is affected equally. For the likes of Jumo families, having more children is determined by God and will do the needful towards their well-being. Hamad Jabani, NTA News.
All right, let's rejoin Dotun in Lagos for more reports. The challenge of audio is still there in Lagos. You're watching Nationwide. Let's go for a break.
I wish to once again commend the frontline workers across the country who, on a daily basis, risk everything to ensure we win this fight. For those who got infected in the line of duty, rest assured that government will do all it takes to support you and your families during this exceedingly difficult period. I will also take this opportunity to assure you all that your safety, well-being, and welfare remains paramount to our government. I am using this opportunity to express our deepest condolences to the families of all Nigerians that have lost their loved ones as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. This is our collective loss, and we share your grief.
This is a very important message. Operation wear your mask, especially for people who don't old. No forget, your body no tranga like before. You not even tranga like your children or your grandchildren. So therefore, always wear your mask for this pandemic period. No they to receive visitors, so even if not your grandchildren. Make extra mask where you go fit wash, make like 2 and dash your never 1. And if they come out for house, wear your mask always. And if you come back, wash your hand with soap and running water to avoid coronavirus. Make you for live long for your children and your grandchildren. No forget, Operation wear your mask, especially for people who don't old. Protect me, I protect you. Now, Coalition of Societies for the Right of Older Persons in Nigeria, COSROPIN, join body with National Orientation Agency, NOA, bring on this message.
The chances of victims surviving COVID-19. A corruption-free society creates opportunities for citizens to thrive and prosper. Build your immunity. Stop corruption now. Report all acts of corruption to ICPC on this toll-free number 0800 2255 4272. This message is brought to you by ICPC and NTA.
The number of the COVID-19 cases in Nigeria is increasing daily, with many more tests ongoing. The battle of testing, isolating, treating, and attending to the affected persons rests heavily on the shoulders of our health workers, constantly putting their lives on the line and at risk to contain this virus, save and protect the lives of millions of Nigerians. To these health workers, we at the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, on behalf of millions of Nigerians, say a big thank you for all that you have done and are doing. To the security agencies enforcing the lockdown and every other frontliner, we say thank you for putting your lives on the line to save ours. There is no amount of words that can quantify our gratitude. Thank you. This message is brought to you by the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, Africa's largest television network.
Okay guys, let's do this. Action!
You can deceive everyone, but you certainly cannot deceive me. I see you.
But if the package is faulty, there'll be no buyers. So I suggest you sit down and have a talk with your husband.
Once you have faith, everything is possible.
You heard him, right?
You needed help and I helped you.
This place will do so. The boss will work.
You mean you still work for Matthew Osage?
What?
Thank you for staying with us on Nationwide. The Nigerian Center for Disease Control, NCDC, has announced 664 new cases. The latest figures released bring the total number of confirmed cases to 31,987 infections in Nigeria. A breakdown of the new cases from 18 states indicates that Lagos recorded the highest number for the day with 224 cases, while the FCT has 105. Edo recorded 85, Ondo 64, Kaduna 32, Imo 27, Osun 19, Plateau, Oyo and Ogun 17 cases each, and Rivers 14. Others are Delta 11, Adamawa 10, Enugu 7 and Nasarawa 6. The day's tally is completed by Gombe, Abia and Ekiti with 3 cases each. Confirmed cases by states shows that Lagos has the highest with 12,275, followed by FCT with 2,538, and Oyo comes third with 1,706 cases. 13,103 cases have been successfully treated and discharged, while 728 patients died, unfortunately. With the validation of the RNA Swift Extraction Kit for COVID-19 testing kit, an innovation with the capacity for testing of large number of people, the 5 million farmers and farm laborers will be tested. Justin Bermuni reports that the RNA Swift Extraction Kit for COVID-19, invented by Nigerian scientists, presents to Africa the uniqueness of commercial affordability and availability that has accurate and sensitive testing capacity.
A major challenge in the COVID-19 fight, particularly for developing countries, is how to increase the low level of testing capacity amid global scarcity and high cost of standard RNA extraction kits. A concern for both the urban and rural areas of the country where farmers reside. However, there are fears that the food security chain may be compromised by COVID-19 if measures are not put in place to stem community spread. The Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development had requested the testing of millions of farmers as a way of curbing the pandemic, especially now that community transmission is on the increase. Therefore, the innovation by a Nigerian scientist at the University of Sheffield comes as the most sought-after relief, with a validation by NCDC under the most stringent protocols with the National Biotechnology Development Agency, the Nigerian Institute for Medical Research, and Open Forum on Agricultural Biotechnology.
The kit is quite cheap. It is about 500% cheaper than what we have at the present. This is an emergency, and we need to rapidly deploy, not only rapidly deploy the technology, but also rapidly set up the plant, the facility for local production.
The Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development, through the Farm Worker Testing Program Initiative, aims to deploy about 10 million units of the kit, just as the African Development Bank plans to massively deploy COVID-19 testing across the continent in what is tagged Test Africa Initiative. Justin Bermuni, NTA News.
Still talking COVID-19, the Acting Secretary, FCT Health and Human Services Secretariat, Dr. Mohammed Kawu, who has been in isolation at the Asokoro Treatment Center for coronavirus, has been discharged after weeks of battling with the virus. Hakimat Aliyu reports that the Secretary advises residents to abide by the safety protocols to avoid contracting the disease.
As the Acting Secretary, Federal Capital Territory Health and Human Services Secretariat, Dr. Mohammed Kawu has been in the forefront in the battle against coronavirus, coordinating awareness, management and treatment in the FCT. Dr. Kawu fell victim to the virus, getting infected along the line.
My experience is I had moderate to severe symptoms because I developed chest infection and I had to be on parenteral antibiotics for some days. But thank God, we are all over. Everybody is symptomless now and we have been discharged.
He appeals to Nigerians against stigmatization of persons who have suffered from COVID-19.
There is a very serious issue of stigma. I can tell you, people have been calling my neighbors and telling them, why are you? this man, this is your neighbor, he is infected, he's in the hospital. So we need to really work on stigma.
Head of Asokoro Treatment Center, Dr. Omar Mohammed stressed the need for persons with the symptoms to promptly seek medical attention to save lives.
What is alarming is the way of presentation of the patients. Before they are presenting mild or asymptomatic, now patients are becoming moderately and severely affected. Currently now on admission we have patients that are about 6 patients that are oxygen dependent, so with various degrees of comorbidities and complications.
As Dr. Mohammed Kawu departs the Isolation and Treatment Center in Asokoro to reunite with his family members after testing negative to the virus, he emphasized staying safe and taking personal responsibility as a way to cope the spread of the virus. In Abuja, Hakimat Aliu, NTA News.
This is Nationwide on NTA. Suleiman in Kaduna has some reports for us from that axis.
And welcome to Kaduna Network Center. Speakers of northern states' houses of assembly have resolved to play their role towards changing the negative narratives against the region. This came to the fore at their meeting in Kaduna. Amina Saidu Abubakar reports.
Include the challenges of insecurity in the region, poverty, Al-Majri phenomenon, and how to flatten the curve of COVID-19.
The issue of COVID-19 touched the economy of the entire northern Nigeria. We have to start thinking inward, how to generate more money.
At the end of deliberations, which lasted several hours behind closed doors, the speakers appreciated the efforts being made by the present administration to restore the glory of the region, emphasizing that as legislators, they also have a role to play in tackling the challenges.
The speakers also appreciated the efforts of the federal government on End Power and other related programs for our teeming youth to alleviate poverty and create jobs. We agreed to domesticate the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act, VAP, in all the northern states with special cognizance to administration of criminal justice.
The northern speakers applauded the president for signing the Executive Order 10, granting financial autonomy to the legislature and the judiciary. In Kaduna, Amina Saidu Abubakar, NTA News.
The impact of lockdown due to novel coronavirus continues to bite harder on economic activities in the ancient city of Kano, a place that is home to quite a number of markets and businesses. Fatima Sanusukarai has a situation report.
The closure of business following the lockdown due to novel coronavirus pandemic, people across the globe have lost their jobs and many businesses crippled. Kano State has also received its bitter share, with social and commercial activities restricted as part of measures to curb the spread of the deadly virus. The state, which is blessed with different markets, is brought to its knees as all commercial activities were halted. Among the markets that suffered loss is the famous Kantinkwari textile market, which attracts buyers and sellers from across the borders. Thousands of traders in this market cannot even begin to count their losses during the lockdown period.
This lockdown has affected us immensely, especially we small businessmen. We may need help to pick up.
This market is an international market, so people are still not coming due to lockdown in their countries. We are just managing.
According to the managing director, Kantinkwari Management Board, Abba Mohammed Bello, 80% of the inhabitants of this market, who are small businessmen, have lost their main capital and may have to start from the scratch with virtually nothing. The state government is coming up with proactive measures to manage the crisis and also salvage businesses and commercial activities, bring back the almost lost glory of the great center of commerce. In Kano, Fatima Sanusi Arai, NTA News.
And with that report, Dotun in Lagos Network Center will continue with more reports on News Nationwide. Dotun, it's over to you. Nationwide. Dotun, it's over to you.
Suleiman. The
federal government has handed over the National Arts Theatre Igomu, Lagos, to the Bankers Committee under the supervision of the Central Bank of Nigeria for renovation and upgrade of its facilities. Minister of Information and Culture Lai Mohammed said the theatre will accelerate the growth of the creative industry and provide more than 1 million job opportunities.
As some have chosen to frame what we are doing here today. What we are here to do is to hand over the National Theatre for restoration and upgrade, and also the 134 hectares of fallow land.
A new life for all of us. It's not about anybody losing job, it's about bringing better, refreshing, a job that when you wake up in the morning, you'll be happy to want to go and serve. That's what we're bringing together. And it's really not for us. It's about the future. It's about the people that are going to come behind us. It's about the children that will come in 5, in 10, in 15 years, and we'll see what we have done to this place.
This creative and entertainment center can be a source of growth for our economy. It will also aid our objective of reducing our dependence on revenues from crude oil.
Deposit of 25 billion naira will start off the project with major focus on 4 aspects of the creative industry, which are fashion, ICT, music and movies. The renovation will be completed within 18 months. The raging coronavirus pandemic has not only caused severe economic and social hiccups around the world, but has taken many people out of jobs, and young people are particularly vulnerable to the times due to disruptions occasioned by the lockdown. How are they taking advantage of the period? Imolayo Tokede takes a look at what most youths are currently doing to fill time.
Statistics by the International Labour Organization in 2020 reveals that prior to the onset of COVID-19, young people between the ages of 15 and 24 were already 3 times more likely to be unemployed compared to adults, while 126 million young workers were in extreme and moderate poverty worldwide. Since the onset of COVID-19, most of the youths meant to be in school are at home, idle, or learning online. Others have lost their jobs, while entrepreneurs are recording huge losses.
This coronavirus, there's no money, nothing, but we are still managing.
It is therefore relieving to know that some youths are becoming innovative and finding meaning in the lockdown. 31-year-old Damilola Ajayi, an event planner, started the production of face shields during the lockdown.
I found this thing online where we could actually volunteer to make face shields for frontliners at the isolation center. And I'm like, this would be fun. Yeah, let's do it. So I volunteered, and they sent me some of the materials. And so I started. I was excited to do something, after not working for months.
Tomilola Abiodun, a school teacher, learned to make liquid soap when her salary was slashed down during this pandemic.
My urge for more, prompted me. I wanted more for myself. Yes, we've been doing a lot of hand washing. I thought about it that now is also a very good time to start the liquid soap business, because we are doing a lot of washing of our hands.
These innovative youths are determined to continue various vocations as long as they are legitimate and lucrative. In Lagos, Imole Ayotokide, NTA News.
If the information gathered from the United Nations Population Fund is anything to go by, then there would be about 7 million unintended pregnancies in the world if the COVID-19 lockdown continues for another 6 months. Worse still, about 47 million women in low and middle income countries may lack access to good health services. The mandate before the global community now, as it marks World Population Day, is how to keep population at par with income and wealth distribution. Michael Olaleye reports.
At the densely populated neighborhood on Lagos Island, no space for physical distancing even among buildings. Ramota Rio, a mother of 3, lives on this lane. She does not just understand the health implications of a populated environment in the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic, but she holds the fundamental rights of her girl in high esteem.
Before I used to provide for her anything she needed, because if you don't provide for her, if you see anything that she wants, you cannot provide it. Some boys in this Lagos Island, they are ready to give her 5,000, 10,000 and corrupt the girls.
Ramota's strategy of protecting her children forms part of the goals this year's World Population Day seeks to achieve, with a view to raising awareness on sexual and reproductive health during the COVID-19 pandemic.
Sexual violence, rape. You see report of adults raping the girl child. Those are major challenges, that we have. And when you have all this situation, you look at, in some part of the country, the more you have, the more people respect you.
With countries of the world gradually easing the lockdown, there is a global apprehension on population explosion, as experts believe the lockdown has limited access to modern contraceptives, especially among middle-income countries.
When we talk about sexual and reproductive health, it's a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being in all matters relating to reproductive system. So it's important that everything that needs to get a girl child or a woman to have a complete physical, mental, and social well-being is made available.
Experts are of the view that with the population of the world estimated to have reached 7.8 billion as at March this year, the effect on income distribution, healthcare, housing and other infrastructure is far-reaching, urging the government and the people to pay more attention to birth control. In Lagos, Michael Olaleye, NTA News.
And that's it from here. It's back to Kenne in Abuja.
Thank you very much, Dotun. Now, about 20,000 poor and vulnerable in Niger State have received their May and June payments of the federal government's conditional cash transfer program, totaling 480 million naira. The program, which is the present administration's social investment initiative, seeks to support the livelihood of the poor and vulnerable. Husseina Musa reports.
Few of the about 20,000 poor and vulnerable benefiting from the monthly conditional cash transfer of the federal government. To them, the 10,000 naira May and June payment came at a better time when their families and micro businesses need financing.
As I go now, I share into 3. One enter my business, one is for food, one for maintenance of the house.
It's helping me in many ways. My children's school fees, my business, many things, I can't count it all.
There are about 20,000 beneficiaries cut across the 25 local government areas of Niger State. Head of Unit Conditional Cash Transfer, Niger State, Hadiza Shuru, says 480 million naira was disbursed to the beneficiaries who have also been trained to cultivate saving culture so as to fall back on the money after their 3 years exit. This, she adds, explains why cooperative societies collect individuals' contributions at payment centers.
Apart from the behavioral change, we have also taught them how to do micro businesses within their domains.
Desk officer of the program, Adamu Shehu, says the beneficiaries who must be personally present, in addition to their pictures taken to avoid impersonation, are paid using their cards. The federal government says plans are underway for more people to benefit. Emina Hussein Musa, NTA News.
Respite has come the way of Ajay Tata and Jamar community in Ampa local government area of Kogi State following the several years of isolation due to gully erosion. Francis Udoja reports that in support of Governor Yahaya Bello's rural and community development effort, a new bridge has been built by an illustrious son of the community, and the people can now connect and move freely to neighboring towns and villages.
Residents on this bridge shall be used.
That was the inauguration of the mini bridge by the Commissioner for Rural Development, Kogi State, Daniel Ejibo, in company of some top government functionaries before the construction of the mini bridge, which now serves about 6 communities. The Agitata people, who are predominantly farmers and traders, finds it difficult to get their products out for business, as it takes them 30 kilometers through other routes to get to their destinations, which ordinarily would have taken 12 kilometers.
A Samaritan has just come to help us through.
The time where this road bad, we no happy.
The initiator of the project, Reverend Bartholomew Agbochenu, disclosed that since the inception of the NGO, several projects have been embarked upon to alleviate the sufferings of the people in need.
I had planned to make use of that money, sum of money, for my house project. But when I saw that challenge, I decided to divert the fund into constructing a bridge here, so that joy might be brought to my community.
Pastor Bat has been a sacrificial child from childhood.
Got in here, we realized that we are sort of backward, and whatever we have heard here today, we are going to take it to the seat of the government, God helping us.
They'll see the fertile land in the land for agricultural purposes.
The commissioner urged well-meaning Nigerians to emulate the gesture from Agitata and local government area. Francis Udojo, NTA News.
Let's talk security now. The air component of Operation Hadarin Daji has attacked another armed bandit camp in the southwestern part of Zamfara state, neutralizing scores of their fighters. In a statement by the coordinator, Defense Media Operations, this was achieved through airstrikes executed after human intelligence reports and series of surveillance and reconnaissance missions established that a group of structures hidden under the dense forest vegetation served as hideout for suspected Islamic State of West Africa province elements and fighters under the notorious armed bandit kingpin Dogo Gede. The air component therefore dispatched a force package of Nigerian Air Force fighter jets and helicopter gunships to attack the location. The attack aircraft took turns in engaging the target, causing damage to some structures in the camp and neutralizing scores of the criminals, and those attempting to flee by foot and motorcycles were mopped up in follow-on attacks by helicopters. For more on Nationwide, let's join Mina in our studio in Enugu.
Hello, Kene. Good evening and welcome to Enugu. The Enugu Ecclesiastical Province of the Anglican Communion has condemned in its entirety the incessant sexual gender-based violences amidst COVID-19 pandemic. This was contained in the presidential address delivered by the Anglican Archbishop Most Reverend Emmanuel Chukwuma during the 3rd session of the 17th Synod of Enugu at Christ Church Owani, Enugu. Uchenna Namele also reports that the Synod tasked government at all levels to look inwards and embrace the positive ways of diversifying the economy.
The Archbishop harped on the need for Nigerians to depend totally on God for urgent intervention in the present precarious situation in the country. The Archbishop Most Reverend Emmanuel Chukwuma also advised Christians not to lose faith in God.
We should trust in God and know that God is moving above and before us in every situation. Nigeria will be good, the world will be good, it will be better than what it is before, because Christ was crucified and buried, and from that he rose from the dead. And so we can also rise from the dead, from this death of COVID-19, after we must have repented of our sins and then look unto God as the only Savior of the whole world.
The Archbishop of the Niger and Bishop of Awka Diocese, Most Reverend Alex Ibezim, encouraged Christians to maintain good relationship with God as the world is in perilous time. The Archbishop Ibezim also advised Nigerians to always obey the NCDC personal hygiene protocols.
So Nigeria must see this time as a time to pray
to ask God for forgiveness. We need God to forgive us our sins. And then we need God to restore us.
This year's synod was adopted by the diocese as a working document in Enugu. Uchenna Nnamele, NTA News.
To actualize the federal government's concept of community policing strategy in the fight against crimes and criminality across the country, the Enugu State Community Policing Advisory Committee has been inaugurated. The 17-member committee, inaugurated by the State Governor Ifeanyi Ugwuanyi, is to oversee and coordinate the implementation of community policing in Enugu State. Susan Eze has details.
The community policing approach to the management of crises and criminalities in the country is expected to build trust, confidence, and mutual respect between the Nigerian police and the people. This, in effect, will make intelligence gathering and sharing among all stakeholders easier. Governor Ifeanyi Ugwuanyi is sure that with the competencies and track records of the committee members in security matters, the new initiative will be a success in the state.
I am aware that Nigerian police has a clear template for implementation of the new community policing strategy. This committee is to oversee and coordinate the implementation of community policing in Enugu State.
The Inspector General of Police, represented by DIG Celestine Okoye, and the AIG Zone 13, Damalam Mohammed, explained that the new approach puts the power of policing in the people's hands.
This one will not be controlled by the police. It is the community that owns this.
The State Commissioner of Police, Ahmad Abdurrahman, and the State Chairman, Traditional Rulers Council, Igwe Lawrence Agobozo, are the chairman and co-chairman of the committee. Other members include heads of all the security agencies in the state, religious bodies, and representatives of the 3 senatorial zones in the state. In Enugu, Susan Eze, NTA News.
And that's a bit from here. It's back to you, Kenneth, for the rest of Nationwide.
All right, thank you, Mina. Gombe State has kept faith with the resolve to fight environmental degradation, staring the Sahel zone in the face. This is with the annual planting of at least 1 million trees by the Inua Yahaya administration. Emmanuel Akila reports.
Available evidence shows that about 2/3 of our entire state is facing various forms of land degradation, such as desertification, deforestation, and other negative effects on agricultural productivity.
To mitigate the impact of these environmental problems, the state government embarked on planting of trees annually.
This year, we're intensifying and expanding the tree planting exercise to include social forestry and agroforestry. And to this end, I've approved the distribution of 200,000 seedlings to some selected groups and members of the general public who are keen to join our efforts to combat the menace of environmental degradation.
The campaign continues all over the state until over 1 million trees are planted in the state this year, with traditional leaders and other stakeholders supporting the initiative. Besides the annual planting of trees, the Inua Yahaya administration is considering the construction of tertiary roads in areas susceptible to gully erosion. Inua Yahaya inspects the areas requiring immediate attention to avoid flooding. The benefiting communities welcome the governor's entourage with cheers. In Gombe, Emmanuel Akila, NTA News.
Our next stop is Sokoto, where Abdurrahman is standing by.
Hello, Kenny. Good afternoon and welcome to Sokoto. Stakeholders in Kebbi State have been charged to rise to the challenges of disaster mitigation and management in line with the federal government's resolve to minimize casualties from natural disasters. This was the position of participants at a meeting organized by the Kebbi State Emergency Management Agency on disaster mitigation, management, and response preparedness in the state. Nuratanko Akili reports.
The periodic meeting was organized by the State Emergency Management Agency
to discuss on how to strengthen interagency collaboration and community engagement in disaster management. This is expected to assist in ensuring effective collaboration and grassroots mobilization to contain possible disasters, especially those related to rainy season. The roles of security agencies, media outfits, traditional and religious leaders, as well as other same-aligned ministries and agencies were emphasized for necessary action.
We have to join hands together and see what we can do to produce jungles. We have to use the modern way of informing people, social media, news bulletin, and what have you, to educate our people about the danger of staying nearby this river.
The meeting also emphasized on the need for people to engage in tree planting, avoid night journeys on boats and canoes, report disaster timely, and for the policy makers to provide necessary equipment and funding for disaster prevention, mitigation, and management. About 11 local government areas in Kebbi State have been identified to be flood-prone, hence the need for precautionary measures by the affected communities. The meeting was attended by the security agencies, traditional and religious leaders, the media, and civil society organizations, among others. In Birnin Kebbi, Nura Tanko Wakili, NTA News.
In its effort to provide health facilities and enough qualified and trained health personnel, Zamfara State Government has trained 150 community nurses and midwives at the School of Nursing and Midwifery Gusau. Sadia Abubakar Tunau reports that these two essential training programs are in line with the present administration's commitment to provide adequate healthcare services to the people of the state.
The Zamfara State Governor, who was represented by the Deputy Governor Mahadi Aliyu Gusau, said the state is faced with lack of adequate healthcare delivery facilities, lack of qualified trained health personnel to man the existing health facilities in the state. It is because of this, he said, that the present administration under the leadership of Governor Bello Muhammad flagged up this new course in order to have enough qualified and trained nurses to provide healthcare services to the rural people across the 14 local government areas of the state.
As you are aware, the health sector in the state is faced with many issues ranging from lack of adequate healthcare facilities to lack of enough qualified and trained healthcare personnel.
Zamfara State Commissioner for Health, Yahya Muhammad Kanoma, noted that the school was established in 2006 to produce nurses and midwives to take care of health challenges facing Zamfara people. He solicited for the state government's assistance to renovate a block of administrative block gutted by fire as well as provide mobility for the school. The Secretary General and Registrar, Nursing and Midwifery Council of Nigeria, Farooq Umar, stated that the council has demanded to ensure high quality of nursing and midwifery education in Nigeria. The Executive Director, Zamfara State School of Nursing and Midwifery, Tukur Shehu, applauded Governor Bello Muhammad for the flag off of this new course. In Gusau, Sadia Abubakar Tunau, NTA News.
That's it from here. Nationwide continues after the break.
Now believe this Koroti. You know if you touch black man, if you like, gather the whole Niger, come together, make the cough. Nothing.
Which one you want?
Give me V&D.
I beg, get small pieces.
How much you want to give him?
Give me 200. Take your change now.
You know what your change is?
My people, this coronavirus, na serious matter. May una wash una hands regularly. Come use alcohol-based hand sanitizer. If you no see water, wash your hand. Make una sit down for house. You see this virus, so it no get leg. Now we dey waka kurukere. No waka around, make the virus for die. No forget, say the betterment of our people. Now for your handy day.
This message is from the Akinfade Foundation in partnership with the National Orientation Agency with support from MacArthur Foundation.
ICPC and NTA say you can help Nigeria to flatten the curve on COVID-19, just as you can help flatten the curve on corruption. Follow transparency, accountability, and integrity just as you follow health guidelines. Stay home with integrity and maintain your distance from corruption, just as you stay away from COVID-19 by maintaining social distance. Report every act of corruption to ICPC, just as you report COVID-19 to NCDC. Stay away from corruption. Stay safe from COVID-19.
Welcome back. President Muhammadu Buhari is rejoicing with Otumba Ede Aderioku, a journalist, poet, author, and sports administrator, as it turns 80. The president salutes the more than 60 years of vibrant journalism tucked under Aderioku's belt, seeing him rise to editorship of the then Daily Express newspaper, as well as his immense contributions to literature. President Buhari urges Aderioku, as president of Nigeria League of Veteran Journalists, to continue to share his wealth of experience by guiding younger professionals on the path of ethics and good conduct. President Buhari praised God to grant him sound mind, good health, and continued service to humanity. Now to sports, where President Muhammadu Buhari heartily congratulates Kamaruddin Usman on the successful defense of his Ultimate Fighting Championship welterweight title. The first African-born and Nigerian UFC champion retained his title after an emphatic win over Jorge Masvidal. President Buhari commends the courageous fighter for finishing strong inside the octagon and proudly flying the green and white colors in distant lands, thereby reminding the world that good things and great people still come out of Nigeria. A statement by the presidential advisor on media and publicity, Femi Adesina, says while the COVID-19 pandemic may have brought gloom to many families and nations, the president is delighted and gratified that our welterweight champion has lifted our spirits and proven that things will surely get better at the fullness of time when Nigerians remain committed to their vision. Now, Amanzi Marcus brings us more on sports.
Nigerian welterweight champion Kamaruddin Usman, who was born in Auchi, Edo State, earned victory over George Masvidal to retain his Universal Fighting Championship belt in the United Arab Emirates. The Nigerian-American utilized his superior wrestling and clinch work to wear down the challenger over 5 rounds in Abu Dhabi. The 3 judges scored 50-45, 50-45 and 49-46 in favor of the 33-year-old Nigerian, who now has a record of 17 wins and 1 loss in 18 fights. Masvidal, the challenger, had barely 6 days' notice to fight Usman after Gilbert Burns was forced out for testing positive for coronavirus. The victor described the fight as tough, adding that he had to make a mental shift to emerge victorious. In basketball, Los Angeles Lakers star LeBron James will not have any Black Lives Matter related inscription on his jersey, unlike his colleagues when the NBA season resumes on July 30. According to him, I don't need to have something on the back of my jersey for people to understand my mission or know what I am about and what I am here to do. The NBA is allowing players to sport a message on the back of their jerseys instead of their last names. LeBron James explained he is in support of the decision, but none of the phrases appeal to him. Among the phrases are Black Lives Matter, say their names, I can't breathe, respect us. With sports update, Amanzi Marcus, NTA News.
And here is a quick public announcement from the NTA. We'd like to thank you for watching Nationwide today on the NTA. My name is Kenan Ima Abodike. Goodbye.